have a question about Hannibal or Mark Twain or riverboats or anything else, ask one of us, and we'll be sure to make up.
Matter where we sit, but
nope, just anywhere without a tablecloth.
like there's a bad bank, there's an emergency museum.
You want to sit down here? So you want to sit down here?
Back.
Hold on.
I'm gonna wipe the chair off and sit down, okay?
For the young people on board, and that's anybody under the age of 99. We ask that there be no running on the vessel at any time, so please do not run. Do not climb on the chairs or on the railings, or stand on the chairs or the railings. And if you have small children, please do not hold them anywhere close to, around, or over the railing. Please take your time as you move around the boat, especially on our stairways and when going to the doorways. We have raised thresholds on board. Doors are heavy, so please be careful. Never needed them in the past and don't anticipate using them today. We are required by the United States Coast Guard to inform you that life jackets are located on the first, second, and third decks on overhead racks and in appropriately marked lockers. On the main deck, they're beneath the forward stairway. On the second deck, beneath the forward stairway. Down racks on both sides, also in lockers at the rear. On third deck, right behind the pilot house. Restrooms are at the rear of the main deck. Trash receptacles are all over the boat. Please use these and do not throw paper, plastic, or glass items into the river. No smoking or vaping is allowed aboard the riverboat at any time, inside or outside. Again, there's no smoking or vaping allowed on board the vessel. Concession area is at the rear of the main deck. There you'll find cold Pepsi products. We also have Anheuser-Busch products. We have hot popcorn.
About to blow our departure signal, so if you're outside and forward of the pilot house, now would be a great time to cover your ears.
Okay.
That's a little bitty baby.
Don't touch anything, baby. Don't touch anything.
22 hours, we could be looking at the Gateway Arch in St. Louis. Also, as we make our turn and look back at the highway bridge, on the bridge pier you see numbers. And as the numbers go up the pier, they get smaller. These numbers are telling us the amount of clearance we have underneath the bridge. Showing us today 61 feet. We require right about 40 feet. Also, as we complete our turn to go downstream, we're going to be going with the current, but more importantly, we're going to be headed into the wind. So if you're on the outer decks and you have things that might blow, like hats or jackets, or purchases you've made, or small children, or popcorn, or hats, be sure and hang on to them. But once things go over the railing, they generally become property of the Mississippi. Also, if you happen to have a question during the trip, feel free to ask any member of our crew a question about Hannibal, or Mark Twain, or riverboats, or anything else. Ask one of us, and we'll be sure to make up.
That was for sale.
What?
The house says for sale.
Where is that?
Big white flat letter. Big white word.
By an old Indian legend. And I'd like to share that legend the way it was told to me by an old riverboat pilot named Captain Harold Esty. He told me this story 42 years ago, back when wide for her beauty. And each evening, around sunset, she would sit atop that ledge and watch the river go by. One evening, as she was seated up there, she saw a canoe put out from the Illinois shore. A young Illini brave who was his daughter from ever seeing the Illini brave again. For these nations of Indians were at war, and she had disgraced him in the eyes of his tribe. Thus disobeyed her father. She snuck out of camp and continued to meet the brave atop that rock. Ran to the edge of that ledge, took one last look, and they jumped. See the river from on high is at Riverview Park, which is a 2-mile drive from Orlando. There you'll find 3 overlooks where you can see the Mississippi from different angles. They also have playground equipment, picnic facilities, a lot of shade time. These trains average 130 cars. And it's not unusual for us to see as many as 8 loaded coal trains come through here in a day's time. Mark Twain Cave is an easy 55-minute walking tour. It's electrically lit, and they tell us it's 52 degrees once you're inside. Cameron Cave is Missouri's newest show cave. It's an hour and 20-minute tour. It's about 56 degrees. And if you want to see in there, you have to carry one of their lanterns or deckhands. And the most important member of the crew being the cook. For these boats travel day after day. Without a good cook, they cannot keep a good crew. Deckhand on a towboat works 30 days on, 30 days off. His tour of duty is 6 hours on, 6 hours off, right around the clock. They tell us it's a great life if you're single. But if you're married, there are some disadvantages. One of them is you're away from home too long at one time. Another one is you're back at home too long at one time. Back behind him there, you see those silos next to the water's edge. That is the barge loading facility for the Continental Cement plant. The bulk of the plant is actually behind the hill. At one time, this was the 3rd largest producer of cement in the world. They go back into the hills, they take out the limestone and the shale, it's then heat treated, it's pulverized, and it is converted into Portland cement, which is the finest quality that you can purchase. It's then shipped to all parts of the world by truck, railroad, and river barge. Established in 1903 as Universal Atlas Cement, a division of United States Steel. This plant was built primarily to provide cement for the construction of the Panama Canal. Now, over the years, they've provided a lot of cement for a lot of projects, including the Panama Canal, the Empire State Building, the Edward Jones Dome in St. Louis, and just about every driveway, sidewalk, and highway that's in the Hannibal area. A few years ago, my wife and I went to Lake Itasca. Rocks are placed just right, and I stepped across the river. Flows in a mostly southern direction, finally winding up in the Gulf of Mexico. Hannibal became St. Petersburg. The Widow Holiday became the Widow Douglas. His best friend Tom Blankenship became Huck Finn. Laura Hawkins became Becky Thatcher, and this island coming up on our right became Jackson's Island. We're sure this is Jackson's Island, or if you put a couple of young people on a raft up around our landing, we set them paddling for Illinois.
Probably over there in the trees. Real close.
If you'll take a moment and look directly to our left all the way across the river and atop the hill. Again, from a different angle, you can see Lover's Leap. And I think that now might be a great time for you to hear the rest of the Lover's Leap story. If you recall, just a little bit ago I told you that the Princess and Brave got away from the chief. And as they made their escape, the chief got even angrier than he was when he had pulled the arrow from his quiver. He went back to his camp and he sent out a search party to look for the pair. They looked for days, weeks, even months. Never found them. The anger inside the chief escalated during this period of time until finally, out of desperation, he went to the state of Missouri to ask for their help in finding the couple. Well, it seems that the young brave's name was Falling Rock. And even today, as you travel through the state of Missouri, you still see signs that say, "Watch for Falling Rock." And now, you know the rest of the Lover's Leap story. And I'm sure that many of you by now have also figured out that I am just about out of good things to tell you. So once again, I'll just be quiet in the pilot house. Landing whistles were a tradition among the boats during Mark Twain's day. And each boat had their own signal so the people in town would know which boat was right. Well, everybody in Hannibal pretty much knows when the Mark Twain comes back. But we uphold tradition by blowing our signal, which is a long. Two shorts, a long and a short. It's from the Eagle Packet Company out of Alton, Illinois. They were one of the biggest packet boat companies during Mark Twain's day and many years thereafter. They're no longer in business, so we have adopted their signal as our own. And we'll blow that for you now. If you're outside and you're forward in the pilot house, please cover your ears. If you're elsewhere on the boat, try and count the echoes that you hear off the hills of Hannibal. Are upheld, so now we can head into the landing. And as we approach our landing, we invite you to visit some of the other attractions that we have in the area. Now, the Mark Twain and Cameron Cave, the Mark Twain Boyhood Home and Museum, and all the fine shops and buildings that are in and around the historic district. For a guided tour through town, you can take a ride on the Hannibal trolley. Rockcliffe Mansion, the Molly Brown birthplace, Big River Train Town, the Hannibal History Museum, Carlock's Cars and Pop Culture Museum, and the Huck Finn Freedom Center are all available for tour.
Sound good?
In the evenings, come back and take a dinner cruise with us. It's a 2-hour cruise, 2-entree meal, live entertainment. It's a great night out on the river. The Haunted Hannibal Ghost Tour leaves from the Hannibal History Museum at 7 o'clock most every evening. And on Wednesday through Saturday nights at 5 p.m., Richard Gary performs Mark Twain himself at the Planters Barn Theater. As we make our landing approach, we ask that all passengers please take a seat on a chair and please remain seated until I tell you we're all secure. Because once in a while when we land, we bump. So for your safety, we ask that you please take a seat.